Who are you, ma'am? On the screen, who are you?
Rabona Jones.
LaBonna Ann Jones?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's not been a case yet set up on Miss Jones, has there?
No, sir. There should be a
Okay,
copy
ma'am.
of the affidavit, I think.
Ma'am, I'm looking at an affidavit here which was signed by the district judge. I think that's Judge Duffy's signature. Where he found probable cause for you to be arrested for possession of firearms by certain persons, possession of controlled substances, marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia. This is your first appearance before a court. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and might well be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney. You cannot afford an attorney if you'll make application to the public defender's office. If you qualify, an attorney will be appointed to represent you. While you're in jail, subject to reasonable regulation of the sheriff's department, you have a right to communicate with your family, friends, and your attorney. And Judge Duffy sets your bond at $5,000. That's cash or professional. In other words, you could use a bondsman. And there should be some applications at the jail if you need to use a public defender. So that's all we can do on this day. Thank you. Who are you, sir?
Bernard Deathridge.
Mr. Deathridge, I've reviewed your application. I'm appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you. We have a case set up 17-87 for failure to register as a sex offender. And Mr. Andrew Bailey is here to represent you. And how does he plead to these charges?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Okay. You'll enter that plea of not guilty. And when will we be setting his pretrial?
May 25th.
Your pretrial in this case will be on May 25th. And also you have I'm looking at an affidavit here, and we need to do a first appearance on that. Judge Duffy of the district court has found reasonable cause, or probable cause rather, to arrest you for possession of firearms by certain persons, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and might well be used against you in court. You have a right to a lawyer, and we've appointed a lawyer to represent you. While you're in jail, you have a right to communicate with your family, friends, and your attorney. Is there anything else we need to do?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, and bond in both cases is set at $15,000. I'll let that stand good for both cases.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Okay, that's all we can do today, sir. Are you Joseph Waugh?
Yes.
District Judge Duffy has reviewed an affidavit and found probable cause for you to be arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia, 2 felonies, possession of drug paraphernalia, I guess that's a felony, criminal use of a prohibited weapon, resisting arrest, obstructing governmental operations, theft by receiving, driving on a suspended driver's license, no liability insurance, failure to pay registration, and failure to transfer tags. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can a little bit.
Okay. Let's see. I'm looking at your application here. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. While you're in jail, subject to the reasonable regulations of the Sheriff's Department, you have a right to communicate with your family, friends, and your attorney.
Judge, I met with Joe this morning. I think the only issue is whether or not there was a bond set.
Okay.
There's some of these men, probably Judge Duffy, I'm not familiar with his hand that's below his signature. He's giving this man a $7,500 bond. He does have a petition to revoke a suspended sentence. He was on probation at the time. It's been filed.
Okay. Tell me the bond's $7,500. And there may be a petition filed to revoke your probationary period, so you might not want to make bond.
I didn't hear how much.
I think they have to turn up the volume at the jail, don't they? Isn't that the way it works?
I'll check it.
But at any rate, Mr. Bailey can convey to you the bond.
Joseph, can you hear me?
Do we have his
Yeah.
notification? So that's already been filed?
It has, yeah.
Okay. 14-110.
I can hear you.
There's been a petition filed to revoke your probationary period. How does he plead to this?
Not true.
Okay, we'll enter a plea of not true, and let me see who signed the... I signed the judgment, so... Hearing on March 16th, 10
Ju-
o'clock or soon thereafter, as we can get to it.
Judge, would you allow that $7,500 bond on the new charge to stay in good for the probation revocation as well?
Let me see the
Your Honor,
allegation.
the state would like to be heard on that.
Okay, go ahead.
This gentleman's been on probation for about 2 years. The most serious part of that, we have a no bond on him right now. The most serious part of that is that this gentleman was stopped in a traffic offense while he was apparently under the influence of some controlled substance. That represents a danger. I'm not worried about the fact that he doesn't have insurance. That doesn't help. But if this gentleman's on probation and he has done what he is alleged to have done here, that represents a big strike. We're not going to stop this man from driving. As that man is driving down the road under the influence, he represents a danger to everybody that lives in Baxter County that operates a car in the opposite direction that he's traveling. And we'd like for him to sit in jail until we can have a hearing
Judge,
on his revocation,
Please.
his probation.
the $7,500 is enough to secure his reappearance here. I believe that's the overarching concern here from our perspective.
Judge, there is going to be an amended petition.
Okay.
Mr. Slater just said he's going to have to file an amended petition, so I don't want the gentleman to get trapped into that. I'm just arguing that March 16th will be here, we'll be ready, we can have a hearing. This is something that,
Well, when the amended petition is filed, raise the issue again. Let me see what that amounts to. So I'm gonna just leave it to where it's at right now. That's all we can do today, sir.
I didn't hear what else said.
I said that's all we can do today, sir.
What do we do? Let's go. Do I get a bond or no?
You have a bond. Your lawyer will talk to you about it, okay?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Has there been a probable cause determination on Scott Freud?
Judge, he was just picked up, I believe, last night,
I don't think so.
so I don't think he would have been in front of a
He
judge.
got arrested at 5:52. Yes.
All right. Mr. Freud, I'm gonna appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. And when they, get an affidavit, we can do an 8.1. We may have to do it later today.
Okay.
That's all we can do right now.
Can I get my bond?
Let's see if it's even been set.
It has.
$2,500.
You know, there is Bobby Hicks has prepared a petition to revoke this man's probation. It has not made its way to you yet.
They tell me they're intend to try to revoke your probation, so you might not want to make a bond till you get served with that, or maybe just spending money.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Are you Derek Russian?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is case 17-89. It's like a drug case. And let me see. I've appointed the Public Defender's Office, pardon me, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you're appearing for an arraignment.
Judge, can you read the charge to me? I didn't have the benefit of the affidavit this morning.
Well, if I can stop coughing.
The prosecutor's given me a copy, Judge.
How does he plead?
Not guilty.
He's on probation.
We'll enter that plea of not guilty. And you'll come back on May 25th. I'll be presiding over the case for my life.
Judge, I met with Mr. Russian this morning.
Uh-huh.
He has a $10,000 bond, I believe, according to the affidavit I'm reading here. He indicated to me this morning that he has a prescription for the medications that were alleged to be in his possession that led to these charges, and that he has some significant medical problems.
Okay. You're saying he has a morphine, a prescription for morphine?
That was his indication to me this morning, Judge. Of course, probably not for marijuana at this point, not until at least June of this year, but that being a misdemeanor offense, we'd ask the court to consider ORing Mr. Russian. Mr. Chisholm has said that he might be on probation out of Izard County, so there may be something happening there.
Judge, this man was convicted, it looks like, in August of 2014. I don't know if he's on probation or not.
I'm off paper.
Say that again, sir?
I believe I'm off paper everywhere.
Off paper, so apparently he has a record of some kind.
Okay. Yes, sir. I spent some time trying to change.
If your court reviews the affidavit in this matter, basically we were called to this gentleman's house on an overdose. Apparently he was injecting
Tell you what,
morphine. I'm not,
why don't you see if produce proof that he has a prescription, and then if he does, I may well release him.
Okay.
Or not release him, but reduce the bond.
okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Just work with your attorney to get evidence that you have a prescription for these drugs.
McGee's Pharmacy.
Say it again?
McGee's Pharmacy is where I fill my prescriptions.
Okay, but they won't just tell me, so you or your attorney will have to get the information, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. State versus Zachary McCullum, 17-90, battery in the first degree. Mr. McCullum, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Let's see, is this a Class Y battery?
It is. It's a 3-month-old child.
Okay. Looks like he's appearing for an arraignment. How does he plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor. Bond's on an issue at this point in time. We'll just get it scheduled out. Actually, he'll probably need to be brought back next week for a scheduling order in front of Judge Webb.
Very well. February 23rd.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all we can do right now, sir. State versus Jonna, is it Spears or
Here's.
Spears? Okay, State versus Jonna Spears, 17-91. That's possession of controlled substances. He also has 16-363, which is a revocation proceeding. I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You appear for an arraignment in case 17-91. How does she plead?
Not guilty.
Okay. I'll go to the revocation.
Judge, she would like to request a bond in this matter.
Okay, it looks like is it correct, most of the revocation is because of the new charge?
Yes, Your Honor. I think she failed to appear. She failed to appear on 2/10. That would be the only deal. This defendant was placed on probation on November 17th of last year. 4 years of supervised probation. I'd like her to sit where she's at until we can have a hearing until March 16th. I think the young lady has a drug problem.
Has she been arraigned? And
No,
does it
Your
show
Honor.
that she is? Is she entering a plea of not true?
She is, Judge.
my last semester at ASU. Like,
Say that again.
this is my last semester at ASU. If I miss this month, then I'm gonna fail my last semester of college. Like, can I get an ankle monitor or anything else?
He hasn't made a decision
Check
on your
in more
bond.
often?
He hasn't made a decision yet. Hold on just a minute, okay?
Okay.
We'll set the bond at $2,500, but I want to be drug tested twice a week at the probation office. What date should she appear? On her days, right? Tuesday and Thursday, Tuesday and Friday? Appear Tuesday and Friday at the probation office for drug testing.
Okay.
Anything else?
You're gonna give her a date on her revocation.
Oh, yes, March 16th. At 10 o'clock or soon thereafter, so we can get to it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are you Michael McQueen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, case 17-80. Possession of drug paraphernalia, looks like a couple of counts there. I've appointed the public defender's office to represent you. And he's here for arraignment, it appears.
Yes, sir. We'll plead not guilty.
Okay,
No other action to take today, Judge.
okay, he's got also another case, let me get to it. That's case 16-159, which was drug paraphernalia and controlled substances. Here for pretrial if necessary.
Judge, there's not, what we're gonna try to do, that, the new case is in front of Judge Webb, I believe. If you could set it over for a reappearance on his docket next week, we'll hopefully have a resolution to all matters by then.
Was it transferred to him?
It was not, the new case is his though, 17-80, so if we just set that one over,
That'd be fine. Anything else to be done?
no, Judge, thank you.
Okay. State versus Joseph Birmingham, 17-86. Possession of controlled substances, drug paraphernalia, forgery, theft by receiving, 3 counts. Sir, I've appointed the public defender's office to represent you,
Yes, sir.
and it looks like he's appearing for an arraignment.
Yes, sir, we'll enter a plea of not guilty.
Okay, we'll enter that plea of not guilty. He should appear before Judge Webb a week from today, February 23rd at 9 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. (17-85) State versus Dwayne Thompson. Drugs and firearms, possession of controlled substances, driving unsuspended. Also has 16-434.
Judge, I believe that 16-434 comes before the court on an order to revoke his bond
Okay.
based on the new charge, so we'd like to be heard on bond today after our plea of not guilty.
Okay, I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. How does he plead to the new charge?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll enter the plea of not guilty and schedule the case. Let me get to the other case. Go ahead, sir.
Judge, our argument at this point in time is, while understanding Mr. Thompson has several charges pending before this court, he is entitled to a bond. We made arguments here when he was originally arrested on the cases that are before this court, and the court did issue a bond and placed him on an ankle monitor. Unfortunately, he was arrested again on these charges. However, like I said, he is entitled to a bond. We request that you set parameters that you think are appropriate for to secure his reappearance before this court.
Mr. Chisholm.
Your Honor, this man has had 25 pending felonies against him for theft. The court allowed him to bond out of jail on January the 5th. He was arrested February the 10th for a Class Y felony. I'd give him a $10,000 cash bond, Your Honor. I'd give him an ankle monitor. I'd give him a $5,000 cash bond. Judge, it is...
I'd like to say something to Ben.
At some point, it's like enough's enough. I mean, when you got 20 felony charges against yourself, and you can't make it a month without committing a crime, this court doesn't get to ignore that. There's nothing unfortunate about that. It's unfortunate that Mr. Thompson doesn't take his pretrial release seriously. But just bonding this man out of jail, we'd ask for a $10,000 cash bond, Your Honor.
I speak in my defense.
What do you want to say, Dwayne?
Well, at that time, I was living in my vehicle, so that's why I had a firearm that I alerted the officer.
Hey, Dwayne,
to.
let's stop right there, okay? I'm going to advise you not to say anything else. Judge, I think that this man, the $10,000 bond, based on what we're looking at right here, is punitive. It's not made to secure his reappearance. I understand that the state's upset that he has had new charges filed. They're not in the same vein as the charges that are pending right now. He hasn't committed similar crimes. They are crimes of, if true, which I suppose the court's going to look at that.
Yeah, I got special needs children. I'm going to reappear.
Hold on, Dwayne. Are possession charges, not theft charges and not violent crimes. So we would ask that the court set a more reasonable bond than $10,000
Your Honor, I'd
cash.
like to make an inquiry. Did this man ever have an ankle monitor? Did he ever wear an ankle monitor?
If we need to have a hearing, we can. I'd like to get him over here because
That's
I
not really a
can't
thing
talk.
for a hearing, Your Honor. That's your judgment that this man gets out of jail if he has an ankle monitor. That's what this order says. And I'd like to know is when Mr. Thompson got out of jail, did he have an ankle monitor?
I
Yes,
can't
I
talk.
did.
I can't talk to him like
We'll
this.
bring him over.
Okay.
I would hope they wouldn't let him out without one. but-
And if that's the issue, then we'll stipulate that he did have one put on when he left the jail. If that's the only question that
Well, I'd
needs to
like
be
to know what
asked.
happened to it. You know, I mean, look, the gentleman wants out of jail. You said he's going to wear an ankle monitor. I can't believe he went back to jail with an ankle monitor and they let him out of jail with an ankle monitor on his leg.
I don't have an allegation in front of me that he didn't have an ankle monitor on, just that he committed new crimes, and that's why the reason the bond was revoked. Do you know that he didn't have one?
I don't
based
know.
on your?
I don't
Okay,
know.
so that's probably not an issue.
I did.
Do you know if he had one on when he came into the jail?
He says he did.
I did have it. They cut it off me when I came in this time.
Okay.
We'll bring him over. That's all we can do right now, sir. You can stand aside.
So do I get a bond or?
Just stand aside. Thank you, sir. You Barry Fowler? Are you Barry Fowler?
Yes.
16-410 State versus Barry Fowler. Possession of controlled substances, drug paraphernalia, maintaining a drug premise. There are certain facilities.
Judge, it's our understanding that all of Mr. Fowler's cases have been transferred to the Division 4 docket. Is that not the case?
He still has one that's on Division, well, no, he's got 3 on Division 3 and 1 on Division 4.
Okay. Mr. Cooper represents him in all of his cases because of a conflict of interest and for the co-defendant. I spoke with Mr. Fowler this morning. I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, that there's one bond for all of his cases at this point. Is that right?
Your Honor, he last appeared in front of Judge Webb on a bond reduction. If my memory is correct, without looking at the file, I think he has a $5,000 cash bond that covers all of his charges.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And after speaking with him this morning, he's requesting that be converted to a cash or professional bond.
Your Honor, if we'd like to have a hearing on this, I'd like this man brought over here. What we do is we sort of chip away at this. We've had this bond hearing. In fact, we had this bond hearing 2 weeks ago.
If it's
He's
on
here
4
for a
cases,
pre-trial.
that's a prepared bond on 4 cases. We'll leave it at that.
Judge, he was here for a pretrial, if there are any pretrial issues.
I don't know. Are there any pretrial issues?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.